Hello, my name is Pastor Bree, and I'm super blessed to serve alongside the people of Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Rock Falls, Illinois. Today, I'd like to share with you one of my favorite children's books. It's entitled In God's Name. It was written by Sandy Eisenberg Sasso and illustrated by Phoebe Stone. After God created the whole world, all living things on earth were given a name: the plants and the trees, the animals and the fish. And each person, young and old, had a special name, but no one knew the name for God, so each person searched for God's name. The farmer, whose skin was dark like the rich brown earth from which all things grew, called God source of life. The girl, whose skin was golden as the sun that turns night to day, called God creator of life. The man who tended sheep in the valley called God shepherd. What do you like to call God? Do you have a special name for God? Check this out. The tired soldier who fought too many wars called God maker of peace. The artist who carved figures from the earth's hard stone called God my rock. Sometimes the people who called God by different names were puzzled. They said every living thing has a single name: the marigold, the pansy and lily, the oak tree, sequoia and pine. Surely God must have a single name that is greater and more wonderful than all the other names. Each person thought their name for God was the greatest. Each person thought that their name for God was the very best. The farmer who called God source of life said that his name was the true name for God. The girl who called God creator of light insisted that her name was the most splendid name for God. The shepherd, soldier, and artist believed they each had the perfect name for God, but no one listened, least of all God. So each person kept searching for God's name. The woman who cared for the sick called God healer. The slave who was freed from bondage called God redeemer. The grandfather, whose hair was white with years, called God ancient one. The grandmother, who was bent with age and sorrow, called God comforter. The young woman who nursed a newborn son called God mother. And the young man who held the hand of his baby daughter called God father. And the child who was lonely called God friend. All of the people called God by different names. They tried to tell one another that their name was the best, the only name for God, and that all the other names were wrong, but no one listened, least of all God. And so each person kept searching for God's name. Then one day, the person who called God Ancient One, and the one who called God Friend, and the one who called God Mother, and the one who called God Father, all the people who called God by a different name came together. They kneeled by the lake that was clear and quiet like a mirror, God's mirror. Then each person who had a name for God looked at the others who had a different name. They looked into God's mirror and they saw their own face in the faces of all the others. And they called out their names for God: Source of life, Creator of light, Shepherd, Maker of peace, my rock, Healer, Redeemer, Ancient One, Comforter, Mother, Father, Friend, all at the same time. At that moment, the people knew that all the names for God were good, and no name was better than any other. All at once, their voices came together, and they called God One. Everyone listened, most of all, God. May you remember that every day this God, who is called many things and has created all things, loves you completely, completely as you are. God never leaves you, and God deeply, madly loves you. God, who is the creator of light, God, who is the shepherd, God, who is the maker of peace, who is the rock and healer, the redeemer, the ancient one, the comforter and friend. This God loves you. Peace to you.